What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Monday, May 20th. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available, sportstalk1051.com. Got the app, download it, take it on the go. Smart speakers, video stream rolling on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to that YouTube page over there. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hopefully, all had a fantastic weekend. Big thanks for making us part of your brand new work week here. What do we got on the game plan for us this morning? Well, first off, I was wrong. Shout out to the Timberwolves. They got her done. Down 20 points at one point last night. They dominated in the second half here, and they were able to get the W on the road in Denver against the defending champions. So shout out to the Timberwolves, and I got to imagine a lot of Timberwolves fans probably incredibly pumped up here this morning. So they will now take on the Dallas Mavericks, who took down the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder for the right to go to the NBA Finals. So we had another Game 7 yesterday, too, where the Pacers took down the Knicks. So both the road teams in Game 7s getting the wins yesterday. So conference finals are all set up. We've got, as we mentioned, Pacers. They're going to be taking on Boston, and the Timberwolves will be taking on the Dallas Mavericks. So there you have it, just like everybody picked, right? So, but no, had to lead it off and give a shout out to all you Timberwolves fans out there, and Timberwolves there too. So that's fantastic. What a performance last night, coming back in the second half there and taking down the Nuggets on their home court. So we'll talk a little hoops a little bit later on. We've got plenty of baseball talk as well. The Brewers beginning their longest road trip of the season this past weekend, past Friday, dropping the series to the Houston Astros, going back to Friday, falling 5-4, but they were able to pick up a 4-2 victory on Saturday, and then yesterday, 9-4 loss. Brewers, Colin Ray allowing some runs early on in the game, digging themselves into an early hole, not able to climb out of it, but Brewers dropping 2 out of 3. They still remain in first place, though, in the division by 2 games now over the Cubs. So Brewers will be back at it again tonight, taking on the Miami Marlins to begin the 3-game series there. Then I'll have an off day on Thursday before wrapping up this road trip with a weekend series against Boston. And then a week from today, the return of one Craig Counsell and the Chicago Cubs to Milwaukee. So, but we're going to talk a little Bryce Terang. Bryce Terang, I mean, this guy, what a fantastic stretch he has been on. 3 hits yesterday, but he had a pretty darn solid series against Houston. In fact, when you look at his last 15 games, the guy, all he's done is hit for 321, an on-base percentage of a 367, slugging 429. I mean, for crying out loud, Bryce Terang, what a season he's been having. You know, a lot of these offensive numbers from some of these guys kind of getting overshadowed by Contreras, and rightfully so. But you know, Contreras, as we know, is putting up MVP numbers. I mean, I feel like almost every couple days, at least every week, we've talked about Contreras and what he has been doing. But you know, Christian Yelich as well. I mean, you look at his last 15 games, 321, 554 slugging. So this top half of this Brewers lineup, at least the top 3 hitters right now, with no Reese Hoskins in the lineup, top 3 are getting it done. They're getting it done. So, but we'll talk some Brewers. We'll talk some baseball coming up here, recapping the series against the Astros, and then looking ahead to the Miami Marlins here. Twins, though, getting swept by the Cleveland Guardians this past weekend. So, what else do we got here? It is a weekend hangover, so your highs, your lows, kind of your studs, your duds, the best and the worst from the weekend. Play along with us. Let us know. Join in on the conversation. Hit us up with some text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or comment on the video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram over there. What is your weekend hangover picks? So send those on over. Should note too, in case you're just joining us this morning, because I saw it earlier. I saw it earlier this morning, but and it looks like it happened late last night here. But Jim Otto, the Pro Football Hall of Fame center with the Raiders, also Wisconsin, born in Wisconsin, born in Wausau, Wisconsin. Jim Otto passing away at the age of 86 years old. You think, I don't know how many people kind of realize this, but I mean, there's a, and I know we got some recent ones here too, but when you go back in history, some of the all-time greats, some of the best football players of all time back in the good old days there's a lot of Wisconsin connections, Jim Otto being one of them. I mean, born and raised in Wausau, Wisconsin, played at Wausau High School, played college football at the University of Miami down there too, but got him. I mean, we know, Johnny Blood McNally's over there just from New Richmond area, River Falls and such. I mean, there's a lot of Cub Buck right here in Eau Claire if you want to go a little bit older and such. But yeah, Jim Otto, one of the best offensive linemen, easily on the short list of one of the best centers of all time, passing away yesterday. And in case you just joined us this morning and didn't see it, kind of, I guess, announced yesterday or late last night. So, but just passing that along there too. So, what else do we got on the docket here? We're going to catch up with, I believe we're going to catch up with Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire for WEAU 13 News. We had softball playoffs can start off last week here. We've got divisions 2 through 4 baseball brackets out right now for high school baseball. So those are out. Some of those games are going to be starting on Thursday over there. So with softball, we got games that will be starting starting tomorrow, it looks like, or at least in Division 1. The other divisions 2 through 5 started last Thursday, but Division 1 will be starting tomorrow here. So postseason play definitely getting underway for a lot of our local area high school teams there. So we'll catch up with Justice on a lace there, including a week from today, first pitch for the Eau Claire Express season. Don't forget the Express season beginning a week from today on Memorial Day, which they will be home, and they're going to be taking on Madison Mallards. And a week from this Friday will be Sports Talk Nights at the ballpark, May 31st, for the Express game. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you out there at the ballpark, not only for Sports Talk Night, but throughout the rest of the season here. So, but we'll catch up with Justice on all things local. Our local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. So let's get things rolling here this morning. Plenty to hit up on. Let's begin the morning chatting a little baseball here. Bryce Terang. Let's talk a little bit more about Bryce Terang here this morning. Just the bounce back year that he's had, and I don't know if it's fair to call a bounce. I think we could call it a little bit of a bounce back year. Last year's a rookie, making the team, second baseman, kind of when he was first in the system, minor league system, and prospect wise, he was viewed as maybe the potential future shortstop of this team. But last year, getting over to second base and displaying his glove work, displaying the leather, showing just how awesome of a defensive player he is. But last year, the offensive numbers just weren't there. I mean, remember, he got sent back down, then he got called back up, and just trying to figure it out offensively. And so far this season, something's just clicked. Something has just clicked for Terang. Obviously, putting in a lot of work has changed his approach there a little bit. But, and he began the season at the bottom of the lineup. But now, ever since Pat Murphy has put him up at that leadoff spot, the guy has produced. The guy is produced right now. I mean, I want to talk about a couple of youngsters here. Terang, but Joey Ortiz. Joey Ortiz, too. I mean, the guy in his last 26 at bats has hit 385 with 2 home runs. Last 15 games, he's hit 4 home runs, 313. Another dude who we have talked about flashing the leather, came in as a noted defensive player. He, I think, is still kind of viewed as the potential future shortstop, depending on the Willie Adames' future out there. But right now, this kid is playing some fantastic baseball, too. He's got a 925 OPS so far this year. I mean, slow down, man. Otherwise, you may be missing or messing around with the rookie of the year. It's tongue in cheek. It's a little bit of a joke there, in regards to the slowing down part. But I mean, you look at some of these young guys playing at really good levels. Robert Gasser again late last week. I mean, 2-0. So I wanna highlight some of the youngsters who have kind of really been stepping it up here for the for the Brewers this year. Bryce Terang and Ortiz. Man, guys are getting it done. We knew about their defense, but they're so far getting it done on the offensive side this season. So let's get things rolling here. We'll take that first break and get your Monday morning off to a good start. Talk some baseball. Brewers begin a series against the Marlins. We'll also preview that coming up here in just a little bit. All right, first break, the leadoff coming up after these quick words. Got to give a big shout out to our friends from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire here because took the. Was that already last Thursday? I'm getting my days mixed up being out on Friday, but yeah, I think it was last Thursday. Took the mobile man cave over there, and we got in the back there, little putting green in the back. We're getting there, baby. We're getting some of the sponsor logos put up today. Shout out Carpet City Flooring Center, Toyce and Ford, Woods and Water Realty, the Elbow Room, sponsors of the mobile man cave over there. I got some stuff to decorate it up, swag it up. Maybe do that this weekend with the little guy, little Memorial Day weekend project, if you will. But looking pretty good there in the back. So excited to debut that next week over there. So, but big thanks to our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center for all of your flooring needs, remodeling within the home or the office, any type of flooring, or even if you're maybe looking at remodeling some of the shower. I mean, I've seen some of their photos on Facebook there with some of their projects with the showers. It's making me a little jealous there. But check it all out with our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Ben, I mean, Jason, Aaron, the entire crew over there. They'll help you out. They'll hook you up. So a couple of you have asked. I did not have any luck turkey hunting. No luck. Although if it was mosquito hunting, I would have had some tremendous luck. I kid you not. That was probably one of the worst batches, whatever the heck you want to call it. I mean, the mosquitoes were awful. My thermocell could not keep up. So I know a couple of you said, "Well, get a thermocell." I had a thermocell. And I had a thermocell, and that thing couldn't keep up. It was disgusting. I mean, I took a picture and sent it to a buddy of mine. I mean, you could see the swarms all over. It was awful. It was awful. So, but no luck for the turkey this year. So it is what it is, right? So always good though to be outside and spend some time outdoors, no doubt about it. So not going to complain about that. G-Man, to answer your question, the reason the team that all the teams in the MLB over the weekend had the same hats on that had stars over them, Armed Forces Day. Armed Forces Day. So teams wore those. I'm assuming you're talking about the black caps and the camo on there, but it was Armed Forces Day. So teams wore those caps during this past weekend in honor of Armed Forces Day. So, all right. Speaking of a little baseball here, let's lead things off. Brewers dropping their weekend series against the Houston Astros to begin their longest road trip of the regular season. But Brewers still 2 games up on the Chicago Cubs in the race for the Central. And just as we're into the second quarter of this regular season here, Brewers will be back at it tonight, going up against the Marlins of Miami. But I want to kind of lead this off and give a little love to a couple of youngsters right now who are just off to fantastic starts. I know we've talked about Robert Gasser and just the starts he's had. I mean, dude has been fantastic, and it's only a couple games, so I don't want to overreact to just a couple games. But I mean, the starts that he has had, I mean, he's off to a fantastic start in his career. And we are going to see him again tomorrow. So we'll talk maybe a little bit more about Gasser tomorrow here. But Terang and Ortiz, 2 infielders, 2 young infielders that could be a vital part of this future for the Brewers. Not only for the future, but for the now. For the now. So first off, Terang. This guy makes the team last year. Maybe a little bit of surprise coming out of spring training. He makes the team. But, if we rewind it to last year, we probably knew at some point we were going to see him. But maybe it was a little surprise that made it out of spring training on opening day. And at one point, too, he was viewed as the potential, maybe, long-term shortstop for this team. Makes it, goes over to second base, displays his defense, flashes the leather. And last year was his offense, a lot to be desired. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. But defense, man, I mean, my opinion, he should have gotten some more attention for some gold glove recognition. But it doesn't make any sense, but I believe it that, to win a gold glove, one, it's a little bit of a popularity thing, but to get a little popular, you also have to have some adequate offense, and he didn't have that, and I think that was a big detriment to potentially him getting some gold glove recognition. But we knew that he was going to have to be a guy that really improved his offensive play. Everybody in the world knew this. So comes in this year, changes his approach a little bit, shortens his swing up a little bit. And what does he do? And Pat Murphy, too. I want to give a little bit of credit to Pat Murphy here. Utilizing his speed when he gets on base. What do you do with them? We're going to be aggressive and we're going to steal some bases. But in order to get on base, you got to hit. You got to get on there, right? And that's what Bryce Terang has been doing. So far this year, Bryce Terang, not only with some solid defensive play, but Bryce Terang has made some huge strides in the offensive department. This year, 314, 369 on base, and an 800 OPS. Let's just compare those numbers to what he did last year. All right. Now I know last year he has 137 games under his belt. This year it's just 43. I understand a lot of that can change, but these are the improvements we're talking about here. Average last year he finished 218. 314 right now. You're talking almost 100 points improvement. On base percentage last year was a 285. This year, 369. Last year, he was slugging 300. This year, 431. His OPS, 585 last year. This year, 800. And he has nearly, almost matched his stolen bases from last year. He's almost matched it. Last year, he had 26 stolen bases. This year, he's up to 18. Now, I don't think Bryce Terang is going to lead the majors in stolen bases this year. Ellie De La Cruz, I think it's already safe to say he's in clear control of that. I mean, you go to like MLB.com and they're already talking about the path to 100 and such for Cruz, and he's at 30. I mean, Bryce Terang's in second place. He's got the second most steals in Major League Baseball. He's at 18. So De La Cruz is at 30. Bryce Terang's at 18. Okay. That's the gap we're talking about here. But Bryce Terang, I mean, even like yesterday, 3 hits, steals over third base, and it almost felt like he was trying to will the team for a comeback victory. Gets smoked in the head stealing third base from an attempted pickoff there. Breaks his helmet. Luckily, he's okay. Luckily he's okay there. But this guy is affecting games in different ways. He isn't just a one-trick pony where last year it was like you got to keep him in because of his defense. And he was so vital, and it's still vital with his defensive play because of the banning of the shift and such, and those infielders, especially middle infielders, covering so much ground. And he really displayed his ability last year, and he's displayed that again this year. But now he's added the element of he's an offensive threat. I mean, these top 3, when you've got Terang now at the leadoff spot, Contreras doing his thing, and then Yelich hitting incredibly well too. I mean, the top 3 right now are just fantastic, and it's led off by Bryce Terang now. So the improvements that he has made this year from an offensive standpoint cannot go unnoticed. And I think you got to give some credit to a couple of their hitting coaches. Remember, they got the duo over there of Connor Dawson and Ozzie Timmons. A little bit old school mixed in with a little bit of new school. Give them credit. Last year under fire, no doubt about it, from an offensive standpoint. But this year, give them some credit. Offensive numbers, Brewers are doing a fantastic job. Now, could that be a little bit of a change of approach from maybe Pat Murphy? Yeah, it could be too. But let's give Connor Dawson and Ozzie Timmons some credit for what they've done with some of these hitters from the offensive side. And another one of those hitters is another youngster, Joey Ortiz. Kind of similar to Rang in the sense that, okay, when he was coming in, when he was acquired as part of the Corbin Burns trade, Ortiz, known for his defense, a guy that just flashes the leather. Fantastic glove work. Potential, maybe future starting shortstop for the Brewers for the long term. A lot depends on, Willy Adames' future here. But next year's probably, if Willy Adames is not on the team, Ortiz is probably going to be your starting shortstop. But for right now, been getting a ton of starts at third. And he was a guy, again, comes in thinking, all right, a lot of good defensive work. And at first, it was like, okay, maybe he starts off at AAA, gets a little bit more practice in with, his offensive side. We saw Sal Frelick getting a lot of time at third base, in spring training. And then the Garrett Mitchell injury. I wonder if the Garrett Mitchell injury kind of really opened the door for Ortiz to make the team opening day and such and take advantage of that opportunity. And right now, offensively, the guy is hitting his stride. You look at his last 26 at-bats. He's hit a couple home runs. He's hit 385. He's got an on base of a 448, slugging 731. He's hit 4 home runs in his last 15 games. And you look at last year's numbers when he was with Baltimore, he only played 15 games with Baltimore. No home runs, just hit 212, had an on base of a 206, slugging 242, OPS of a 448. Just 15 games worth. But he's played 40 games now for the Brewers. And so far this season, 292, 387 on base, 538 slugging, 925 OPS. Between Joey Ortiz, who's 25 years old, and Bryce Terang, who is 24 years old, it sure seems like this Brewers team, this crew, they got a couple of youngsters here in this infield that looking pretty good and maybe potential some future fixtures on this team. And it could be as soon as next year that these are going to be your two guys that are going to be in the middle of that defense. If Ortiz is going to be the future starting shortstop, if Willy Adames is no longer on this team starting next year because of free agency and such, I mean, you've got two right now, some fantastic youngsters who we know can play amazing defense, can cover the middle of the field there. But right now they're adding that offensive element to their repertoire, if you will. So these two youngsters, let's give them some credit right now for what they are doing, both offensively and defensively. Ortiz and Terang. Contreras, and rightfully so, a lot of the attention on the offensive side of things. Should get a little bit more attention on the defensive side, and especially with how he's managing this pitching staff. Christian Yelich, the numbers he's putting up. But what Terang and Ortiz are also doing, don't overlook the fact of just how important they are to this ball club, not only defensively, but offensively too. So it's exciting to see these two, and hopefully this is just kind of scratching the surface, and hopefully this isn't a flash in the pan. Hopefully this is what we can kind of come to expect with these two guys. And why shouldn't we? We're seeing it get. They're doing it. They're getting it done right now. So I think it's only natural to all right, this is the new expectation for these two guys. So I'm excited to see these two continue to grow here. I mean, this might be, your two middle infielders for a while now. especially Ortiz. Hey, rookie, this third baseman. Just the other day, he was a triple shy of a cycle against the Astros. Murphy again with a fantastic, he's had some great liners on this team, and we've highlighted some of the quotes that he has said. He is just, I mean, and I think the players appreciate his personality and maybe a little bit of his sense of humor. But he said this about Ortiz the other night after their win. Um, when he swings at a breaking ball in the dirt, I want to tase him. It's what he said to Joey Ortiz. I don't know if that's legal. I don't know. I love some of the stuff that comes out of Pat Murphy's mouth, some of the quotes that comes out of him, and just I don't know. It's just it's almost a little bit of a breath of fresh air when we get to see comments like that. It's because it almost makes the guy a little bit more human, if that makes sense. It just makes him a little bit more human to hear stuff like that. Not so robotic because when we get to coaches and general managers, and even a lot of players too, they just become so robotic in the media or answering questions. Like we can predict exactly how press conferences are going to go. We know this. We know how they're going to go. So sometimes when we get a little bit of like off the cuff or um some personality to their answers, kind of a breath of fresh air. So should also note, since we're talking about some of the youngsters here, but a dude who had a good night against a future Hall of Famer, Justin Verlander. Shout out to Jackson Cheerio, a couple hits against him. But hey, even in his last 7 games, Jackson Cheerio's hitting 273. Had that monstrous home run. Was it 441 in the series finale against the Pirates there? So I mean, again, another youngster. Very similar again to how we were talking about the Packers last year. Young guys stepping it up. Had some veterans mixed in there. But the Tarangs, the Ortizes, Jackson Cheerio as of late here, didn't even talk about some of the pitchers like Hudson and Milner and such, or Wilson. But these other youngsters, Gasser, stepping it up and playing some big roles. Inexperienced guys coming in and playing some big time innings and giving the Brewers a lot of production. This is why they're in first place. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll finish up the first hour. Which youngster for this crew has maybe impressed you the most or has already surpassed some of your expectations this year? With Memorial Day coming up, maybe some of you going to be maybe doing a little camping, doing a little cooking out, some grilling out. So I want to give a shout out to a couple of our good friends of the program. First up, Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee. If you're looking for some supplies, maybe you're going out of town this weekend. You got to fill up, if you got a camper, maybe the fridge or the coolers or anything like that. Go visit our good friends from Hy-Vee. Load up, grab some Man Cave Light 4-packs over there too, and some snacks and such. And then also Mike's Star Market, our good friends from Mike's Star Market. So last week they put out some Bloody Mary brats. Wife and I stopped over there Saturday, picked them up, put them on the grill Saturday. Boy, oh boy, are they fantastic. I'm actually got to go back and pick up some more packages over there because they are absolutely awesome. And the best part is because Mike's is such a fantastic Backyard Dreams supporter too. $1 per package on those Bloody Mary brats are going to help fund Backyard Dreams. So, but go get them, try them. The Bloody Mary brats from Mike's Star Market, they're absolutely fantastic. So, with Memorial Day coming up, if you're going to be doing a little camping, doing a little traveling, or just doing some backyard barbecuing, grilling out, having some people over and such, hit up our two good friends, Hy-Vee, get some supplies over there. Mike's Star Market as well, get some supplies over there too. So, all right, which youngster for this crew, for this Brewers team, has maybe kind of surprised you the most with how well they are playing to begin the season? A little bit, we're into the second quarter of the season now. I mean, we went through a few of them. Robert Gasser, if you want to go just 2 games in, I mean, he's off to a great start here too. But I think the easy answer, the simple answer is Bryce Terang. We knew about his defense again, but just what he has been able to do from the offensive standpoint here, he's getting on base, which is allowing the Brewers to be aggressive on the base paths. And, it just feels like a lot of times when he's on base, if he gets that hit, guy's going to take, he's going to steal. A lot of times it feels like, it's not every time, but a lot of times it's like, all right, he gets on, and then you got Contreras behind him, and you almost feel like, all right, we might get a run here. He's going to steal. Contreras is going to hit it. Terang with his speed is going to get across. I'm not going to say guaranteed, but that's kind of where we're at with in terms of the expectations, I think. And it's like, all right, Terang gets on, then you get Contreras there. The expectation is that should be a run with how well these guys are playing. Then you add Yelich behind that too. That's kind of where I'm at. I know it's a high expectation, but right now, why not have that? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Terang. Just because of what he's been able to, and now that he's up at the leadoff spot, I just think this makes the offense a little bit more dangerous. A little bit more dangerous. Brewers will begin their series against the Marlins tonight. First pitch for tonight's game is going to be at 5:40. Joe Ross is going to be on the mound here for the crew. 2-4 on the season so far for Joe Ross. He's going to be going up against Weathers, a lefty here for the Marlins. Weathers is 2-4 with a 3.81 ERA. Ryan Weathers, that is. When you look at the lineups and kind of preview the lineups here, no Brewer player has any experience going up against Weathers, it looks like here. And then from the Marlins side of things, again, a little bit of an unknown. You got a couple of players here who have a couple at bats against him. So, but yeah, not a ton of experience with these lineups going up against these pitchers. But when we look at Weathers in his last couple starts here, he's actually coming off of. This is again just one of those downers. He had a great pitching performance, but doesn't get charged with the win. But Weathers coming off of a no decision back on the 14th, where he went up against the Tigers, pitched 8 innings, no earned runs, 3 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. That's a fantastic line, and he got a no decision. Before that, he picked up a couple losses, but I mean, really, they weren't awful performances. Go back to the 8th where it's going up against the Dodgers. Went 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, only 1 walk. Buckeye charged with a loss. Before back on the 3rd then against Oakland, another loss, but he went 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, including 5 strikeouts. So when you look at, Weathers and some of these games that he's had, I mean, you go back to the 28th and he had that's probably his worst game of the season against Washington when he went 4 innings and gave up 6 earned runs. Other than that, you're seeing a lot of similarities here. I mean, for crying out loud, back on April 10th against the Yankees, he went 5 innings and 0 earned runs. So it might be a little bit of a tougher matchup for this Brewers offense. Guy, don't just look at the win-loss record 2-4. You break it down a little bit more. Yeah, had a bad year. But lefty up there, one thing, Pat Murphy, he's going to try to get a little creative with his lineup to take advantage of that. Joe Ross, meanwhile, is coming off of a win against Pittsburgh back on the 14th, where he went 5 innings, 2 earned runs on 2 hits, struck out 6. And that was a game that, he kind of needed to, coming off that loss against Kansas City. And really wasn't awful against Kansas City. Went 5 innings, 3 earned runs, did have a couple walks and 3 hits there. Then Cubs, he went 6 innings, no decision, 1 earned run, 6 hits, 4 strikeouts, and no walks here. Joe Ross, even though he's pitched 8 games, has started 8 games, a little bit of still, I feel like, kind of a wild card. Don't know which version, don't know what kind of performance or what kind of outing we're going to get from Ross. But in his last 5 games, he has pitched at least 5 innings. He has pitched at least 5 innings, which I know for a lot of us old school baseball fans, this is like, oh, wow, 5 innings, great. I remember the day when it was like 7 and 8, and I still remember I'd prefer that too. But given today's game and maybe kind of how everything goes, 5 innings, 6 innings is kind of feels like the new norm over here. But when you look at his 3 starts in the month of April, or in the month of May, excuse me, Ross is 1-1 with a 3.38 ERA with 12 strikeouts and only 3 walks. If that's the type of numbers Ross is going to put up, I'm satisfied with that for a back-end starting rotation guy. If he's a back-end starting rotation guy with a 3.38 ERA, I'm taking that. And this is coming off of a month of April where, let's face it, he struggled. He struggled a little bit. 1-3 with a 5.40 ERA in the month of April. So hopefully, kind of, put that month of April in the rear view mirror, moving on here, and we can kind of get, just a consistent, little bit above average back end starter with Ross that eats up innings. But if he goes out there and pitches a game tonight like he has in his starts in the entire month of May here, Brewers got a shot to win tonight's game. No doubt about it. All right. Again, coverage will begin about 5:05 on the radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Let's catch up on a few texts here. Josh saying Ortiz is playing well, making it easier to let Adames walk. In terms of the youngster, we've got Mike saying he's going with Terang. We've got Doug saying he's going to go with Cheerio. I know the numbers have been up and down, and career-wise, he doesn't have career numbers right now, but with the high expectations surrounding him, I think the kid has been doing all right. We've got another pick here going with Robert Gasser, saying, I know it's only a couple of games in, but he just looks like he is a pro already. The biggest thing that has stood out to me is his calm and collectedness. All right. We got a couple more Tarangs here. Eric is going with Tarang. He is the perfect leadoff hitter. So excited that Murphy put him at that leadoff spot, and Tarang has rewarded him with some great play. Another pick for Tarang here. Somebody asked, does Contreras count as a youngster since he's still in his mid-20s? I mean, I guess so, but I guess I'm looking a little bit more in terms of when I say youngsters, I got to be careful when it comes to baseball because maybe the best word is the inexperienced players. The best phrase is probably to say the inexperienced players there because we've seen Contreras for a couple years now, at least at the pro level here. So, but age wise, yeah, he's still considered a youngster, I guess. So you got me there. Definitely got me there. Texter's going. I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here, but I'm going to go with Hudson, the relief pitcher. So Turang seems to be the popular pick there, but definitely we got a few other picks for the youngster that has impressed you or surprised you the most so far this season. So, all right. We'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up a little bit later on here. We've got NBA hoops going on as we let off the program. I mean, Timberwolves, that was pretty darn impressive. What they've done, what they did last night. At one point, down 20 on the road, Game 7 against the Nuggets, and they come out and got the W. And now they move on to the Western Conference Finals, where they'll face the Dallas Mavericks. And I think the Timberwolves have a fantastic shot to reach the NBA Finals. So, T-Wolves fans out there, I mean, you got to be pumped. You got to be excited right now with your team. I know going to bed last night, Hutsy was a little down because he wanted the Timberwolves to win, and he saw the Nuggets out to a big lead there. I can't imagine his thoughts when he woke up this morning and asked Alexa who won the game last night. So we'll talk a little hoops there. We got JC Nisi coming up a little bit later on as well. Hey, also football-wise, just throwing it out there, happy OTA day. 21 teams begin organized team activities, and one of those teams is your Green Bay Packers. So OTAs today. If you follow any football stuff on social media, I'm sure you'll see some photos and maybe even some videos and such about some of the players and that. But the NFL's voluntary offseason workout program continues to ramp up. Teams kicking off their organized team activities today. Oh, yeah. Right? So, also, don't forget to send me your weekend hangover. What was the highs? What was the lows? What was your studs? What was your duds? What was the best? What was the worst? All right. Hit me up with those. I'm sure a lot of you T-Wolves fans out there, this one probably isn't that hard to think about. And maybe you're still a little suffering a little bit from a weekend hangover from your excitement from the game last night, right? So maybe you're still a little hungry, maybe you're a little tired, or whatever the case may be. So send me your picks over there. Hit me up with a text or comment on the video stream like YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter over there. All right. So we'll get to those coming up a little bit later on. A little bit later on here too. Also, should note some Stanley Cup finals or Stanley Cup playoffs, excuse me. They continue to roll on through here as well. We got Xander Schauffele winning the PGA championship for his first major. I mean, I know I wasn't here Friday, but holy moly, with the story on Friday morning about Scotty Scheffler. Now it seems like his charges are going to be dropped. That was the report yesterday. Maybe a little misunderstanding and such, but man, what a Friday morning. I was kind of following along on my phone as I was sitting on the ground in the woods and being eaten up by mosquitoes and such. But wow. All right, one in. We got a couple more to go here. We got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the second hour in just a few minutes. Second hour kicking off on this Monday morning. What up, everybody? Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. We'll get back to some more baseball. We chatted quite a bit in the first hour there. Brewers dropping the series against the Houston Astros, but they'll try again. Beginning a series with Miami starting tonight. After that, 3 games against Boston before returning home a week from today for their return of Craig Counsell, Chicago Cubs and such. We'll see how that goes there. So, but we'll get back to some more baseball talk here. So, also hoops wise, again, shout out to you Timberwolves out there. I got it wrong. I thought it was done. Thought it was over with, but man, you got to give that team a ton of credit. At one point, down 20 points last night, Game 7 in Denver. They came with a victory. Both road teams, Game 7 yesterday in basketball with victories, with the Pacers taking down the Knicks too. So, hey, we got another Game 7 tonight though, but this one's in the hockey world. Game 7 between Edmonton and Vancouver. It's at Vancouver. It's the final one left here before we get to some conference finals here too. Florida at New York. That's going to be your East final. And then the winner of this one, tonight's, they'll be going up against Dallas for the West final. So, but hopefully we'll get to a little, I believe we'll get to JC Nisi, Justice Cleveland, coming up here in just a little bit. He's got to brag about his PGA championship winner, his prediction. He went with Xander Schauffele, and guy hit it. I was really hoping it was Xander and Colin Morikawa there at the top there. I would think it was after day 2 and thinking, oh, we're going to have a little battle royale here. But no, Xander pulled off the victory for his first major championship. So also, we'll catch up on some of the local stuff here because we are pretty much getting into the full swing of the postseason for some prep sports here. You know, softball began some of their postseason play last week. Division 1 starts this week. Baseball brackets are out for divisions 2 through 4. So we'll kind of go over all that with JC and EC for our local sports roundup. We'll say maybe we'll hit that at the bottom of the hour, maybe probably 8 o'clock here or so. So we'll get to that coming up here too. Don't forget your weekend hangover picks. What was the best? What was the worst? What was the highs? What was the lows? Kind of a little studs and duds sort of thing out there. So let us know. Let us know. What are your picks? Hit us up with a text at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Or you could comment on the video stream. C-Bomb, we were asking the question a little bit earlier. Which Brewers youngster has surprised you the most to begin this season? He's going with Terang. Kid gets on, steals bases, scores runs, everything you want at the top of the lineup. I don't even know what you said about your second text there, man. Something about lawn breaks. I don't know. One of my lawn breaks. I'm assuming that's a typo or a little voice to text issue going on over there. So, what else do we got on the docket here? Hey, I want to, so starting next week, we're going to do this, but I've already started to collect it. If you're a member of our Man Cave Facebook group over there, if not, go Google it, Man Cave Confessions and such. But it's kind of my way of getting some feedback from all of you and everybody else, kind of chatting a little bit with each other, a lot of our listeners and such. But starting next week, we're going to be doing some daily news segments and such that kind of highlight a lot of you out there. So, you know, Mondays, we're going to do a little weekend warrior shout outs. Every Monday, we're going to highlight a weekend warrior, whether, you know, you're in the outdoors just enjoying, you know, maybe going on a hike, a bike ride, or you're playing in a slow pitch softball tournament or volleyball or whatever the case may be. You want a little weekend warrior shout out, we're going to feature you every Monday throughout the whole day, even shout outs on the air. So you want to be a part of that, or you know somebody that should be on there, start to hit me up. I'm collecting some pics right now. Okay. Got to send me a little photo and maybe a little bit of info with it too. Tuesdays will be our backyard tailgate tips. We did this a little bit off and on. I need some more now. We're going to make that a Tuesday dedicated to a little Tuesday action there. So hit me up with that. You got a good recipe, especially with Memorial Day coming up. All right. I'm looking for some grilling tips or a good smoking recipe or something like that. Hit me up and then we can share it with the rest of the class. Wednesday is going to be a fun one. Well, they're all fun, but Wednesday, what we're going to do here is so like Thursday when we're done with the show, I'm going to throw up a poll question. Okay, it's going to be on Facebook and it's going to be on Twitter, and then Wednesday, it's going to be a little bit of like, all right, here's the results and a little commentary on there. I think we're going to call a little bit. The verdict is in. The verdict is in a little Wednesday action over there, so that's going to require some participation. I need some help from you. Thursday, we're going to do a little throwback Thursday, highlighting a team or a player from the past. Could be local, could be collegiate, could be professional and such. And then Friday, our youth sports spotlights going to be focusing on the youngsters K through 8 sports. All right, so I know we got a lot of little league action going on right now, some soccer and such, but Friday that's going to be a little K through A8. Excuse me. Got to give a little love to those youngsters out there, and then starting new daily right after we do our or right before we do our picks and predicts, we're going to do a little tip of the cap, kind of our team or athletes of the day. That could be from high school. That could be from college. That can also be from the pros over there too. So got some new stuff. We're going to be starting off. I think we're going to do a lot of those next week, but we'll do the tip of the cap starting today here. So, but yeah, lone bright spots. Gotcha, Steve. Lone bright spots over there. All right. Let's yes, somebody texted too. Did I hear you say it's OTA day for the Packers? Yes, it is. According to there's 21 teams. A couple of them started last week because a new coach, I think it was Atlanta and Washington. But yeah, Packers OTAs today. If you're excited about that, so happy OTA day, I guess. So, what else we got here? We talked a little hoops there and such, but man, I continue to be impressed by what the Timberwolves are doing, and honestly, I think they're going to the finals now. I was wrong. I'll admit it. I was wrong. I didn't think they were going. I thought Denver evening it up and then going up 3-2. I was like, okay, Denver's going back, and it's going to be Denver versus Boston. Nah, I don't think so. I'm actually intrigued with both these series now. I think Boston's still going to win theirs, but I'll be curious to see how Boston slows down what Indiana wants to do, running out in transition and just their speed. I mean, I look at Indiana and I look at Minnesota as two teams like they're young and they got some veterans mixed on there too. But inexperience wise, this deep into the postseason run, and I look at them and I'm like, they just not know any better. Like they just we say that a lot with a lot of younger teams and inexperienced teams and such. Like, do they just go out there and just say, screw it. We don't know any better. We're just going to go play ball. Kind of talk a little bit about that with the Packers last year and their run in the postseason. We've talked about that with some younger teams that don't have a ton of experience where they just don't know any better. And they go out there and they ball out. Maybe they're a little bit more of that relaxed team. They play a little bit like house money. And I think, you got Dallas that, yes, Luka's a younger player, but you got Kyrie on there and such. And, obviously with Boston, they got a lot of youngsters over there too. And Tatum's still young and such, but, a little bit more experience in playoff games and such. So, but I'm intrigued with both these matchups. Again, with the Pacers, how does their fast transaction offense, how does Boston slow that down? Is Drew Holiday, is he up to the challenge of maybe trying to slow down that transition defense from Tyrese Halliburton, who just wants to run up and down the court, and then you got Luka and Kyrie going up against Anthony Edwards, you got Cat and Rudy Gobert and such. So, and Mike Conley, who still getting it done at a high level. I know the Joker last night called him, perhaps the most underrated player in the league. Yeah, he's still, I mean, for crying out loud, I remember when he was drafted and watching him at Ohio State with Greg Oden. He was teammates with Greg Oden. Then want to make makes you feel a little bit older. And the guy is still getting it done. So I think, Boston might have been the only team that I think a lot of people expected to still be at this point. But I think there's some intriguing matchups. I think both of these Eastern and Western Conference Finals matchups are going to be fun to watch. You got some different elements with these teams. And I know last night, Denver kind of said it, and I would agree with it, that Minnesota was a team was built to stop and to take down the Denver Nuggets. Mission accomplished. So, yep, you got that done. But hey, you got another series to get to the finals. Now it's a championship. And if I'm a T-Wolves fan, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling pretty confident. Got to admit it. I'm pretty pumped about my team right now. You should be. So, all right. Anybody, Bucks fans, are you cheering for? Are you good with cheering with the T-Wolves? Are you good riding on that hitching your way into that train? Are you cool with that? Like, all right, thumbs up, that sort of deal. So, got a couple of you saying that you are T-Wolves fans, and this has been your most memorable, best season as a Timberwolves fan, even over the KG years, huh? And I get it. I think there's a little bit more. Will you say? How do I want to say this? You feel a little bit better maybe about your chances to go to the finals, like, because I remember the KG one. I remember watching one of those games. It might have been the elimination game when I was in a hotel room at sectionals in 2004. But it was like the Wolves and Lakers, and there was that narrative like, oh yeah, that Lakers are great year for the Timberwolves, Latrell, KG, Cassell, Zerbiak, those teams. But it was like, oh yeah, the Lakers. They not going to get by the Lakers. I feel like if you're a Timberwolves fan now, you're probably thinking, hey, we're going to the finals. Don't overlook Dallas. Don't overlook them. But I'd be feeling pretty darn good right now. So I wish I could play some of the clips from Anthony Edwards and such from post game pressers and that, but I'd probably get in a lot of trouble for air and all that stuff. So, all right, we're gonna hear from Justice Cleveland. I just got the word he'll be here around 7:30. So we'll do some local sports roundup with him. We got baseball brackets for high school divisions 2 through 4 out. Softball playoffs began last week. More will begin. Division 1 kicks off tomorrow and such. So postseason play at the high school level clearly underway. We got track and field also going on here as we start to wrap up the spring sports season. So we'll get the latest from JC Nisi, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire from WEAU 13 News. Also, we're going to get back to some more baseball talk, but keep your picks coming. Which Brewers youngster, so I've asked the question, which Brewers youngster has impressed you the most, but which one, and let's make it, I want to give you a few. I don't, because again, thank you to the one listener who kind of said, does Contreras qualify as a youngster? So let's go with Bryce Terang, Joey Ortiz. Let's do those two. All right. Let's just keep it to those two. Because I could throw Jackson Cheerio in there, but I think we sky is the limit. We got high expectations for Jackson Cheerio, no doubt about it. But if it was between Terang and Ortiz, who do you think has the higher ceiling? Who do you think has the higher ceiling in terms of their future, in terms of their career? Now, I'm sure we could say, well, both. But if you had to pick one, and maybe that's kind of related to with who would you give a long-term contract to? That whole new way of thinking, let's lock up some of our youngsters. Let's, give some of our youngsters a long-term deal. maybe invest a little bit more money right away, but hopefully eventually it will be a little bit of a cheaper deal, right? The Jackson Churio way, the Freddie Peralta way, the Aaron Ashby way. If you had to give, or if you had to prioritize a contract to Ortiz or Trang, who would be first on your list right now? Who would be first on your list right now? Hit me up with a text 715-830-1912. Who do you think has the higher ceiling? You're going to go with Terang, who leadoff hitter, stolen base guy, plus defender. Ortiz, who actually has shown maybe a little bit more power than what was expected, than maybe what a lot of people kind of thought too. But again, plus defender, maybe your future starting shortstop too. So, who do you think has the higher ceiling? Think about that. Hit me up with a quick text 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break here. And then we should get to Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire from WEAU 13 News. If the computer freaking wants to work here this morning. There we go. A little delayed action there. So, all right, quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Big thanks to a few of you as well. You sent over some photos this weekend, having some luck in the outdoors, whether it was fishing or turkey hunting and such. Cool story from our friend Stetsonville Brad, turkey hunting in Wyoming with his daughter and father. Brad, if you're listening right now, you should write a little write-up on that so we can share it on our outdoors page at sportstalk1051.com. But we'll get those photos added up to the Till the Gun trophy gallery up at our website. Again, if you want to check out that full lineup there, just visit sportstalk1051.com and click on the outdoors tab, and you can see it all over there too. So, but yeah, with Father's Day now coming up next month here, if you're looking for a cool gift for dad and such, head on over to our good friends Tilden Gun. All right, you can also visit tildengun.com. When I say the biggest selection, all at the best prices, I ain't lying, man. They got it all over there, it feels like, and they'll work with you, help you find just exactly what you're looking for. They did that with me when I was looking for a specific deer rifle and turkey shotgun too. So go check out tildengun.com. And if you want to order online, it's super easy. I did that for Hudson's over there. Super easy to order online through tildengun.com too. So go check it out. Impress your dad, impress your grandpa, your uncle, or whoever may need. Maybe your wife or daughter needs a new deer rifle or such too. Hey, they'll help you out. So again, just tildengun.com, and you can check out their entire selection over there. All right, just a little bit past the bottom of the hour here, and he is in studio. Are you getting ready for work early this morning too, man?
Yeah, I just need to shower some days, once a month. Look presentable at this time. So, just for you.
Thank you. I'm honored, man. I'm honored. So, how you doing? First of all, congratulations on the pick, Xander Schauffele.
Thank you.
Were you waiting to tweet at me? You're
I think the whole weekend. I'm like, this might work out that I actually picked the winner. 2 in a row, actually, because I think I picked Scheffler for.
You did. Look at that.
I just got to figure out who I'm going to pick for the U.S.
For
Open
the
British
U.S. Open. Yeah,
but,
man.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun tournament to watch. I mean, obviously, the headline that we'll all remember years from now will be the Scheffler thing. But
the
fact that you had drama, the fact that Schauffele had to make that putt, and not even then, hits the ball into the bunker, has to hit that shot, has to chip up there. Yep. No easy task with nerves, and then to make that putt.
Yep.
And watch it almost rim out.
Yeah, holy man.
I think in his
never
head,
a doubt, right? I saw the images, I was like, oh, never a doubt. And it's like, nah, I know having a little fun with that.
But almost came out. But I think if it were him, you're probably just sitting there like, at least I'm guaranteed to go to a playoff if I miss this.
Right.
You're still playing on. But yeah, just good confidence there. Bryson DeChambeau with probably one of his better, I mean, obviously he's a major winner, but I think since that's one of his better showings. Because just showing the nerve to be able to muscle back like that. Victor Hovland's close. He would, he'd be one of those guys I'd put right up there to be the next guy to win a major. So yeah, what a fun tournament. Even the nice thing is you think about back to Aaron Hills when Koepka won in the U.S. Open. That was a low score, and he ran away with it. Whereas at least here, it's a low score, but it was close. You had so many people in competition that it made it a lot of fun to watch.
And you mentioned, Bryson too. He started off hot at the Masters, right? Then kind of cooled off, but this one, kind of came back. So I mean, if he kind of puts those two together there, looking at the future there, I mean, that's, and like you said, he's already a major championship winner. But if you're Bryson, you got to be a little bit down, but you got to be feeling good about how you're playing at these major championships. I would think
he's been the most consistent. Koepka's been right about there, but from the guys who are on the Live Tour, for him to have those two performances shows you that obviously those guys are still some of the best in the world.
Right.
So, I mean, and obviously for the Live Tour, I think it was big for him to do that because the rest of the guys didn't do a whole lot, at that tournament. So,
I know he didn't win, but considering everything that happened on Friday, That was pretty remarkable performance, I thought, from Scotty Scheffler too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Saturday he just kind of maybe all caught up to him. I mean, the fact that he's a new father.
Yep.
What a whirlwind of a week. I mean, you'll be telling that story forever. I mean,
yeah.
Like, you have a kid, you go play a major championship, get arrested, stretch out in jail, go and have a great round after having that. Saturday kind of catches up to him. Sunday comes back. Was he a 4 under or 5 under on Sunday? I mean, that's just how good he is.
Yeah.
Is that I think even if he's not at his best, he's still got a chance to be up there. So I think we saw a lot of good performances that weren't even like I thought Rory McIlroy, if he makes a couple putts, like he had a good stretch on Saturday where it was like he had 4 in a row, had a chance for 5. He had a chance for like 7 or 8 birdies in a row.
Right.
And only ended up getting like half of those. The putting's kind of been his downfall, but he's still right there. I think Rory can get back into that major championship hunt there. And Justin Thomas, a guy who honestly was like his career was looking real bad there for a while, coming off full swing and all that stuff.
Right.
Comes and has a good performance at a PGA championship. So
yep.
It's going to be fun the next 2.
Absolutely.
The US Open's going to be crazy. I think, and then British.
Do you know where the US is off the top of your head?
Is that Shinnecock?
Is it? That's okay. That might.
Don't quote me. I'm really good at thinking. I remember where it is.
It is at. That's tennis.
Bethpage.
Oh, if it's Bethpage, Pinehurst too.
Pinehurst. Okay, I was 0 for 2.
Pinehurst too. So
yes, so another tough track.
Isn't that like the really fast greens? I think I remember. Like really, I mean, it's
they'll do it
over there.
I mean, the USGA when it comes to the US Open, they just make it. They want it to be the toughest test in golf. And I know we'll see that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, just kind of looking back on the weekend here, JC, before we get to, kind of, I know we're in, these next couple weeks here for you, especially, it's going to be pretty busy here, and we'll kind of recap that and round that out. But I mean, I've talked about it a little bit here. If you're a T-Wolves fan right now, I mean, after last night, down 20 at some point, game 7, I admit it. I was wrong. I thought they were done.
Me too.
I thought as soon as Denver won game 5, I'm like, you're done. Denver's going to win one of these 2. And last night it looked like it was going to be that. Nope. I mean, you got to be in heaven right now if you're a T-Wolves fan, because you're going up against Dallas. Not to overlook Dallas, but you got to be feeling pretty confident right now.
And it's so poetic for them to come back from a big deficit to win after last year having the big lead and blowing it.
Yep.
So against the defending champs too. I mean, this isn't that's still a team that a lot of people would have picked to win the title even after Minnesota took the first 2 games. So yeah, I mean they should be on cloud 9 right now because you earn everything, but you to do it that way and to be probably left out for dead after a couple quarters there and come back. Yeah, it's got to be a great feeling for Minnesota sports fans who have dealt with a lot of tough stuff like that and tough beats. To get one on their side always has got to feel good.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued with both these conference finals. I think.
Yeah, they're kind of. They're not ones you would have called anywhere near in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I feel like every team's a little bit different. Like, for Boston, Indiana, star-studded Boston, the team that's from beginning to where they're at right now. But can they slow down the youth? Can Drew Holiday keep up with Tyrese Halliburton maybe with the transition?
Right.
Portion of that. Then you got the T-Wolves and with Ant-Man, but then the couple bigs, but then you got Luka and Kyrie. I mean, it's just there's a lot of, I think, different elements to these teams that provides a little intrigueness, if you will, if that's a word for this.
Yeah, and it's really, it's kind of those younger teams. I put the T-Wolves and in the Pacers as those younger up-and-coming teams that I don't think people pick to be at this spot.
Right.
I think they, everybody probably they're a couple years away. And then they're able to do what they did to get there. And then you got like the Mavs, obviously, like, Luka's not old by any means. He's still really young, but they have, it seems like almost like a more veteran team with Kyrie on that team. And then Boston's just that old guard team. I think Boston's the team everybody would have seen in this position.
Yeah.
And they're the one, so the target it's kind of been on their back.
Yep.
But they've gone out and just played really good basketball. So yeah, it's going to be, to watch in Indiana, If you're the Celtics, you watch what Indiana was able to do to the Bucks.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we gotta step it up. So
I feel like Indiana and Minnesota are those two teams that are and they've got some veterans mixed in there, but they're that young team that they don't know any better. And they just go out and kind of like ball. Like Minnesota, I thought was a perfect example of that last night. Just like they don't realize what situation, and that's not a knock on it. I kind of use that to describe Green Bay, I think, a little bit towards the end last year too, where they don't know any better. And they're just going out and playing maybe a little bit more relaxed and just playing ball at that point.
You heard it after Game 5 with Ant. He comes out, was like, I'm excited. It's got to, it's the next one to win 2 games is there. Instead of, you can be down in those situations. With the young teams, and that's the thing, you can go either way real quickly.
Right.
Like Minnesota could have got real down in that Game 7, and that's it. It's over. You're done.
Yep.
But for them to just play and keep playing the way they were playing, keep not get scared, not worry, and to come back and get the win, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. So, want to talk a little Brewers here quick with you too. I know they dropped that series against the Astros, but a question that we've been kind of asking this morning, a lot of the youngsters really stepping up, Bryce Terang and Ortiz, especially those two as of late. If you had to pick which one do you think has the higher ceiling, because I'm playing this game of like, who's the next to get a contract? Contreras, I'm keeping him out because that probably is a popular pick there.
Yeah.
But, with that whole, hey, we're going to sign our youngsters up for long-term, we've seen it with the Freddie Peraltas, the Aaron Ashbys, obviously the Jackson Churio. And maybe this is kind of also the other second part. Who's impressed you the most with their start so far this year? Has it been Terang or Ortiz for you?
I'll go Terang because, he played a good sample last year, and it could have been one of those. And he came back and got better.
Yeah.
His
offense has just exploded this year.
And in those, you kind of worry about infielders because they can be streaky like that. And then, the next year, but he plays great. He's got a good glove.
Yeah.
So when you have that too, I right now I would put him, because Ortiz was kind of just an unknown, quantity when they brought him in there. So the fact that he's been stepping up to everybody really has had their moments.
Yeah.
You really have, as much as I bemoan Gary Sanchez, when Gary Sanchez is out there, he's been adding to that offense. So, yeah, you've had some struggles. I think Blake Perkins would be the one that you would feel like got off to a great start and added a lot of stuff early in the season, but now it's just kind of fallen off. So, but the fact that they have these younger guys that are able to step up and come up, Churio will get there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the patience game that you got to play. He's not, he's not Holiday with the Baltimore where they had to send him down because he was 1 for 22 or something like that. He's getting hits and getting big hits in situations. So, yeah, the patience is there. So I've been impressed by the whole lineup. I love Pat Murphy's the way he rolls the dice with this offense a lot more than what Council did. Not just playing the analytics game, playing baseball. He's a baseball guy. I think he's more of a baseball guy than he's an analytics guy, and is willing to steal second, play some small ball, and get runs, and not just rely on the home run, which I think the Brewers did way too much for the final few years of Council's tenure.
And I feel like, I think I said this last week, even like if the Brewers are down a couple runs, to begin a game, whereas last year and the last couple of years, like, oh, that's almost insurmountable.
Right.
At times.
2 runs seem like it's like, okay, can they get 3 today?
Right.
It might not happen.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, they can make, because we've seen it. Even yesterday, I know they were in a hole right away, with, was it 4-1 after 1 or 2 or something like that? And then it was like, but okay, it's still not going to count them completely out here because we've seen it with their offense so far.
And when you could have an offense that has 3 guys hitting over 300,
especially your top 3.
Yeah. That's, you remember we'd always look at the batting averages for the Brewers coming in. And it was like 250 would be the top batting average. Contreras was probably the top last year. And then you just have these guys hitting like barely over 200. Well, now when you have legitimate 1, 2, 3, and then Adames, who's not hitting for the highest average, but I think is probably the best long ball threat on that team, more than Yelich, I think, at this point. I think.
And when Hoskins comes back,
right? Yeah, Hoskins, because he's been out. I forget about him, but so now you're actually setting the table, which I don't think they really thought about that the years before.
Yeah,
it was just kind of these, you'd have Yelich leading off and stuff like that. But I like the way the lineup sets right now, and with Contreras, he's your prototypical number 2 hitter.
Yep.
guy who's getting on base, can hit with contact. I mean, you don't. It's fun to talk about these things again because it felt like for a while baseball went so far away from any of that. It was just swing with that, get your launch angle.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to have.
Exit velocity and all that. Yeah.
Base hits are fun because when you string base hits together, you get runs. You don't just need to have home runs. So I kind of like the way that this Brewers team brings me back to what I like about baseball.
Yep.
We all love seeing a home run, but we don't need to. I don't want that to be your main source of getting runs. You need to have those guys who can situationally hit, and that's what the Brewers are doing this year.
And maybe it's a little bit old school too, but I love it. Like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, just to hear, and I know it's not a big deal for, in terms of wins or losses, but, even Pat Murphy's liners in the media and such. I mean, I loved his quote on Ortiz the other days. Said when he swings at a breaking ball in the dirt, I want to tase him. I don't know if that's legal or not. It's stuff like that. It's like, it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air where it's not so robotic.
Yeah.
But I think the players kind of appreciate that though too.
And I don't want to discount what Craig Counsell did as a Brewers manager. He, the longest stretch of success in team history, Craig Counsell was the manager for that. So that you can't take that away. But I think the reset has actually been good for the Brewers because of what Pat Murphy brings to it, and the guy who's been there during this stretch of success and knows these guys. So I think it's been kind of a breath, like you said, a breath of fresh air after some struggles postseason wise for the Brewers, and sometimes you just need to do that.
And it's just, isn't it weird too? Like, you look at what they're doing differently on offense, and they're tops in a lot of categories, like top 5, top 6, top 7, whatever. I mean, even home runs up there too, and runs in that. Just I love that quote where you said, just playing baseball.
Yeah.
Out there.
And Contreras, I mean, the fact that I don't know where he is right now with the hits, but it was him and Shohei Ohtani. Top hit. And the fact that he's playing every day.
Every day.
He does not want to come out of that lineup, and you love to see that, especially from a guy playing the toughest position in baseball. But he wants to be out there, and he'll DH every once in a while, but he still wants to be in the lineup. He doesn't want to take. I mean, he's going to probably be one of those guys where Pat Murphy's going to have to literally say,
you're
not
down.
Going today. We need you to, rest up a little bit." But those are the guys you want.
Exactly.
You want those guys to be just fighting to be out there and to play, and then when they go out there, are effective. So hitting 350. I mean, he's got to be the all-star starter. I mean, it'll be tough because of the Brewers, but man, he's doing.
He's to the point where it's almost like if he doesn't get a hit in a bat, like if there's a runner in scoring position, he doesn't get a hit, you're almost surprised.
Yeah.
Whereas like, that it's a little bit of a change where it's like the expectations, he's going to get a hit here.
Right.
And when he does it, you're almost like, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't get a hit. Yeah.
And the way he hits, it's not just pulling the ball. He'll spray, and you could tell sometimes he'll hit one to the right field, and he's mad because they caught it because he did everything right.
Yep.
And it just happened to be the positioning was there. And that's the fun. Let's go back to like Ryan Braun when he was in his prime. There was always he hit the ball hard, but his hard hits were almost always to left field.
Yep.
He was pulling the ball almost every time.
Those home runs were like we can all picture a few of them probably right now.
But even when he was, there was like, he hit that ball hard. But he wasn't spraying the ball.
Right.
Contreras can hit to all fields, and I think if they can lock him up, do it. You got yourself a franchise catcher there, and it's something the Brewers have not had in years. If really,
Lucroy probably the last one.
Lucroy's the closest to the last one, and that was only like 3 or 4 years. So I think if you have somebody who can be that guy, who can be, big name here, Yadier or Molina for your team, you got to lock him up.
Yeah, and I don't think we can discredit too. Obviously we focus a lot on the offense, but I think he's a big part of why these pitchers are having some success this year too.
Right.
With all the injuries to that staff, and he's the guy. I mean, look at Robert Gasser. Being able to help that guy out in his major league debut, and all these other guys he's had to get used to. I think he's been a big part of that.
Hudson. I mean, we're
right. Exactly.
Keeping that ERA under what? I'm just saying.
All right, we got to take a quick break here. We'll finish up the second hour. Don't forget, we've got some local sports roundup here, too. I know the baseball brackets for D2 through 4 were released. Softball will continue to get going here, too. Some of them got started last week. D1 starts tomorrow, I believe, here. So we'll get a breakdown on all that coming up in just a little bit. 1 week from today, don't forget, it's opening day for the Eau Claire Express baseball team as they will welcome the Madison Mallards to town. And then not this Friday, but next Friday, I was going to say March 31st, May 31st, is also our night, Sports Talk night. So hopefully we'll see you at the ballpark. Grab your tickets, not only for that one, but throughout the whole summer at Carson Park for the Eau Claire Express. GM Sammy will be joining us tomorrow. Plus, she will be unveiling an announcement of their left field project, what they're doing over there. So if anybody's wondering what the heck are they doing over there, you'll have to listen starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow. She'll let us know.
And I'll say it's nice to hear the Madison Mallards back on the schedule. You got Wausau's back on the schedule. Madison's back on the schedule. Those are some of those, back when I first started, the league was probably, I think it was half the size.
Yeah.
When I started 13 years ago. So, yeah, 14 now. This will be my 14th season covering the 15th, maybe? Jeez.
Holy moly, man.
I was at the end of the 2010 when they won the title. That was my first year.
Oh, so yeah, if you do, okay.
I think if we do the math, it's 15.
Yeah,
15.
Because you got to count 10.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it'd be 15.
Yeah. So
you should get your own bobblehead now.
No. No one wants to look at that.
Come on. Don't sell yourself short.
That would be like me looking in the mirror. It's just like, oh, man. No. But yeah, I
say yes.
Can't. Yes. No. It'll be shaking head no all the time. It's always fun when the Express start up. And yeah, it's amazing. We were just talking off air. It's like how quickly May is moving forward, and we're heading straight into summer, which is never a bad thing.
I know. Memorial Day, a week from today, that's kind of the unofficial kickoff to everything. So, but with that, big thanks to Toyson Ford with Craig, and that was it. I think year 3 of their ownership with the Express too.
3 or 4, yeah,
3 or 4 over there.
Time flies.
I know, right? So they got a lot of cool stuff. They got a new jersey over there too. So they got a lot of cool stuff planned this year. And shout out to Toyson Ford because we're going to unveil the Mobile Man Cave May 31st too.
Ooh.
And they're one of the sponsors there. So we got a putting green carpet in the back now, JC. we're going all out on this thing. So even if it's raining, we're going to do a little putting in the back there while we do a show.
This is going to be something.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
It'll be something. We'll just leave it there. So. We're going to do some local sports roundup coming up just past 8 o'clock here because we are in the full-on postseason mode now with a lot of this here. So we'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. By the way, happy OTA day.
Oh, yes. Wait, the NFL's still going on?
Right, yeah.
You wouldn't know it from last week.
I'm waiting for them to drop something.
Yeah, what's next?
What's coming up here. So
my training camp's a month and a half, 2 months away. So
don't say that. End of July already. Watch, we'll probably get like a Jordan Love contract coming up here.
There's got to be. Well, we have the June 1st.
Oh, the June 1st, yes. Yeah, post cuts and all that. So
NFL will probably just go wall to wall with coverage of those guys getting cut.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because Campbell's contract will officially come off for Green Bay.
Yeah.
On June 1st and all that fun jazz. But I know it's a little over about a week now. But with Jared Goff's contract, I got to imagine now Green Bay's probably like, hey, maybe we should get this done before prices continue to go higher and higher.
I think you get it done before training camp, don't you?
Yeah.
Announce it. Maybe even the first day they get it done and have it announced. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that would be that to me. That would be a smart move because then you just go get it out of the way and then it's not sitting there when you're doing training camp. So
open up camp with a positive note because everybody's probably going to be pumped for him.
Yeah.
At that, I can't imagine people being upset about it. On
right.
The team
people love that guy, and he's endeared himself to his teammates, and that's huge. That's when you're the leader.
There was something I saw on Twitter, and it was a good point. But so the Packers, their quarterback that they drafted was at the rookie symposium, whatever. It's like a card event in that.
Oh yeah, yep.
He was wearing number 17. Somebody's pointed out, why is Anders Carlson there? I'm like, oh yeah, that's Anders' number. So I don't know.
Apparently Anders is not where.
I was like, okay, I maybe he knows. Somebody's like, well, he probably knows he's getting cut. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't think that's it. Usually get them. Well, usually it was like donuts, and now I think it's more than donuts to get somebody's number. But
yeah, but it was like, oh yeah, I saw that trending on the good old X/Twitter the other day. But it's like somebody else, I think it was Albert Breer, pointed out too how that's so pointed towards offensive players because why would a rookie quarterback from Green Bay be featured in that when he's probably like the third quarterback on
right,
the depth
exactly.
chart. So,
yeah.
But when you were in Green, was OTAs a big thing for you guys to have to go cover? I mean,
And
anything
it
Green
was
Bay?
because it was a chance to just see guys.
Yeah.
And just your first chance to really.
Mhm.
But it isn't. It seems like there's so much more structure to this now than it was 15 years ago. That the availability is there, and those guys are in town a lot.
Yeah.
So it was, but it was always limited to what we could do.
Right. I want to, because I'm not going to have enough time here, but we'll do it as part of our local sports roundup. I got to ask your thoughts on the Doug Gottlieb hiring at UW Green Bay, because I mean you've talked about it a lot with the Bennett era when it was over there, and just how big of a deal it was. Obviously it was Packers football, but when like Tony and Dick were over there for basketball, it was a huge event,
right?
Sort of thing.
They were the number 2 in town to the Packers, and that some of those points were more successful than the Packers, so we're really big then because the Packers weren't winning.
Right. So I want to get your thoughts on the Gottlieb hiring too. So, but shot clock going off right now. 2 in. We got 1 more to go. Local sports roundup coming up after these news updates. Before we let JC head out and cover some track and field, maybe later on today.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, look at that.
Hopefully.
All right, third and final hour on this rather wet start to your Monday, depending on where you are listening to us from. But big thanks for making us a part of your brand new work week here. We'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up a little bit later on. Brewers will begin a series with the Marlins tonight. First pitch for that game will be at 5:40. All three games actually going to be at 5:40. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before their off day, and then a weekend series against Boston. Then a week from today, they welcome Craig Counsell back to Milwaukee.
Oh,
what do you think since we won't be on Monday? What do you think the reception is going to be like for him?
Yeah, there'll be some boos.
Yeah,
I mean they've already played him, so I don't feel like it's as yeah. It'll be the first home one
there. So
yeah,
and let's face it, there'll be a good Cubs contingency of
right.
fans there, so might get a little. It won't be like Favre returning to Lambeau, sort of thing.
This will be, yeah. I mean, it's they always say Wrigley North.
Yeah,
there's going to be a big amount of fans there, especially on a holiday.
Yeah, definitely. So, let's do some local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. Before we get to the high school stuff, it's still locally because it's Wisconsin, but just because of your history, growing up there, working over there too, and we've talked about UW Green Bay. It seems like a lot this year, for basketball, whether it's been the women's team or the men's team. And obviously with Coach Zach with the Blue Goals now was an assistant at UW Green Bay. But UW Green Bay making probably the biggest news story in college basketball last week, hiring Doug Gottlieb, who you actually hear on this station in the afternoons, as their new coach. I know we talked a little bit about it last week, but I'm curious to get your perspective on it, being from that community, working in that community. You've talked about what it was like under the Bennett era there, like being the number 2 draw in town behind the Packers, which is saying something.
Yes.
Quite a bit there. What was your thoughts when you first heard the hiring of Gottlieb going over there?
Wow was the first thing. Like, whoa. Like, that was when I first saw that. That was the second biggest surprise of the week last week, than waking up to seeing Scotty Scheffler arrested.
Right.
That was the biggest one. That one, you can't beat that one. But
no.
Yeah, I think it's a move they kind of had to make, because you had Sundance Wicks come in and kind of get excitement back to the program.
Mm-hmm.
They'd made the tournament, or made a run in like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Then it's just been kind of down since then. Sundance comes in, gets that city revitalized in the program, great personality, and then he's back to Wyoming, which you can totally understand.
Yep.
So if you're in Green Bay, you're in a situation where you've got kind of the crowd back, you got excitement.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Right.
And I think the Doug Gottlieb move is one that gets you on the front page of ESPN, which UW Green Bay
normally does.
But last time that would happen would have been when the internet was young and Dick Bennett made the jump from Green Bay to Madison.
Yep.
There. So, yeah, I think it's a move that, I mean, it's a risky one. They're really rolling the dice on a guy who's never had any D1 coaching experience. He's been around. Obviously, he was a basketball player. His dad was a coach.
Mm-hmm. Does AAU stuff, I think.
So he's been around basketball, so there's no doubt about that. It's just this, it's going just directly to D1. That's you're rolling the dice, and if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then you're back to square one. So it's a high-profile move by a school that doesn't do a lot of high-profile things.
Right. I think, first of all, I hope it works out because it means the program is doing well.
Right. Oh, exactly.
I think the question a lot of us have, it goes back to it, is the radio program.
Right.
As a recruit, I would be like, one of my first questions if I was being recruited by Coach Gottlieb, which kind of seems weird to say now, but if Coach was in my living room, you'd be like, okay, Coach, should I just have it in my mind, you are unavailable Monday through Friday from like 2 to 4, 2 to 5? Right. Like if I need something, who do I go to? Do I got to go to an assistant? What if I want to talk to you? You're my head coach. What are you just like, you're not available at that time? Because we hear coaches all the time say 24/7, kid.
Yeah.
I'm available whenever you need it, sort of thing.
I got to imagine he's going to have people step in. And maybe he'll have an availability during those shows during the year. Because it's not even just being in your office and having office hours. It's travel.
Right.
On those game days, you're going to be traveling. If you're traveling far, you're traveling the night before. Let's say you got a tournament that you're playing in.
Yep.
You're playing back-to-back days. So there's so many things that I feel like, and recruiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I think he'll have to step it. Yeah, obviously, he would have to step it back no matter what with the coaching, but how that balance is going to be, that's tough because being a coach's life, ask any coach, is tough enough.
Right.
To do it at the D1 level
and
then still to try to balance a radio show. Yeah, I don't know how exactly that's going to happen, but he's willing to take it on, and Green Bay's willing to take it on. So
I think the one thing I'm really curious to see if there is, and I feel like this could be a benefit for all the teams, but like if he is a force on the recruiting trail because of, you know, maybe he's got some popularity, some name recognition, that's got to up the game of the Badgers and Greg Gard in-state recruiting, right? You know, Marquette, Milwaukee throw in there. Because I mean, if that is going to be, you know, where he's going to have success being able to recruit better kids, that's, to me, that's like, all right, Wisconsin, Marquette, they got to up their games here too.
Yeah, and then he's going to have early success.
Yeah,
because I think Wisconsin and Marquette are still 1 and 2, depending on the year, who's 1 or who's 2 in that situation. And Greg Gard's embedded in basketball in Wisconsin. Shaka Smart's one of probably the most charismatic coaches you'll have, and a great coach. So it's not like he's just walking in, like he can just walk in and be like, "I'm Doug Gottlieb, everybody come to me." That's going to be a hard sell for just how much basketball experience Gard has at Wisconsin, and, you know, with Shaka and his success he's had at every place that he's been. So yeah, I think he's going to have to find success, and it's possible obviously now with the transfer portal. They lost a lot of the players that they had from last year's resurgence, but you can restock it. It's just, how much is that national personality going to change the recruiting class? I don't know. I don't really know if that's going to be enough to be it's going to move it as much as they, but it for them, it keeps they're on the national radar now,
right?
Where I feel like, unfortunately, I think they would have been off the radar if it's just somebody you don't really know in a national,
right? And that's, you know, back to the recruiting thing too. I mean, how many times do you go like on social media and say or see, hey, Tom Izzo's at this high school game,
right?
Greg Gard's at this high school game. Shaka's, is he going to be able to do that a lot? Is he going to be able to go to high school games and check out some of these? I remains to be seen.
Yeah, you have to be able to get there on the recruiting trail. I don't know how much like the transfer portal has affected that part of the game of recruiting, because how much of it's recruiting high school players and how much of it's recruiting. Well, you can't do it actively until they're in the portal,
right?
But how much is that? Like, what are you looking for? I think most coaches would want to go long term and get the high schoolers, but that other part of it is now there,
right?
It's a big part of the game now too.
All right. Speaking of high school and such, I've got some of the brackets up, but we'll start off with baseball because was it divisions 2 through 4? The brackets were released.
Yes, they start up on Thursday with the regional quarterfinal games and some of those smaller.
Okay, so like D1, I'm assuming later this week.
Wednesday probably, if it was anything like the way the softball came out.
Okay,
Tuesday, Wednesday. So
okay,
I think Wednesday might be the seeding meeting, so it probably comes out Wednesday night or
gotcha.
Thursday.
Because their games start.
Brandon's like the king of knowing when this stuff, these meetings are going on. So,
but for, you know, Division 2 and that, shout out Medford, 1 seed over there. Yep,
they've been a good pro. They every year.
Coach Arabi over there is doing a good job. Yep. They will face potentially Rice Lake. Rice Lake has to play Lakeland. Bloomer's a 5 seed in that same bracket, so Bloomer Tony, plain T. Sorry guys, but go Medford. Over there, Abbotsford Kobe's a 3 seed as well. Just kind of going through. St. Croix Central's a 1 seed. Hayward's a 2 seed. On Alaska's a 5 seed. Sparta's a 13 going up against number 4 Altoona.
Yeah, and Altoona, I mean, that's a team that was at state.
That's right.
They still have a lot of that talent. So I think they're ones that'll take that 4 seed and use that as motivation, because that's still there's a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah. Baldwin Woodville's a 3 seed going up against Arcadia, who's a 14 on there too. So I mean, you look at Division 2 is kind of spicy.
Yeah, the middle border's kind of beating each other up there. You know, with Baldwin, with Altoona, with St. Croix Central.
Yeah,
Prescott's in that too, and so it'll be. I think that one. I feel like you're going to see some really tough, tight games in that. And like you said, it's spicy.
Yeah. Division 3, we got St. Croix Falls as a 1 seed. They will take on the winner between Tech Weyerhaeuser and Unity. Barron's a 4 seed. Spooner's a 3 seed. They'll take on either Cameron or Ladysmith. Cumberland's a 2 seed. Elk Mound's a 1 seed. Cadott versus Regis in an 8-9. That winner will take on Elk Mound.
Yeah, and Elk Mound, a team that ran the table there in the Dun St. Croix. That's a really talented team with a lot of experience. So that'll be a tough one.
Yeah.
Caden Russo and company over there. That'll be the Mounders are, I think, are poised for success. And then, to do what they did in conference.
Yeah.
We hope that, goes on over there into the playoffs too.
Then we got McDonald Central is a 13 seed, number 4. They're going up against number 4 Boyceville. Fall Creek's a 3 going up against number 14 Augusta.
And shout out to Fall Creek to come out and not have a team for a couple years and then go and win the Clover Belt West.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge accomplishment by those kids.
Yeah.
By the coaching, by the school, just to hang with it and then get back and play successful baseball.
Yeah.
That's just amazing to me.
Absolutely well said. Stanley Boyd's a 7 going up against Osseo Fairchild, and that winner takes on number 2 Mondovi.
And Mondovi's a team that kind of kept getting better and better as the year went on. I think for a long time the talk in the Dun St. Croix was Elk Mound and Boyceville. And Mondovi just kind of kept getting better and better and climbed the ladder to finish in second place in the conference. So shout out to the Buffaloes.
Nice. And then finally, Division 4. We've got a lot of our northern teams there, but shout out Taylor County too, because Rib Lake's a 1 seed in there too.
Yep.
So Taylor County representing a little bit of their Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran's a 3 seed. And then you got Spring Valley's a 7 and Clear Lake is a 10 seed as well. Glenwood City's an 8 seed. So got that's Division 4 there, and then we'll find out Division 1 a little bit later on.
Right.
This week,
we got teams like Oliva Strum and Blair Taylor too. Who,
yes.
That Dairyland was just, with Emmanuel, those top 3 teams in that conference playing some great games. I think that'll help them in the playoffs as well, because
Oliva Strum's a 5 seed, yes, taking on Assumption.
Which is crazy. I think they're, in my mind, better than a 5 seed. But I think a lot of these teams, they beat up on each other enough in conference play that might have just kind of put them down a little bit. But somebody's probably going to make them run.
Right.
From coming out of those. And if you have to play those early games, it's tough, but I think that can give you some motivation, especially get that first victory and try to knock off a Goliath there in that second round.
Yeah. To softball, let me bring up the softball brackets here, because some games got started off last week.
Yes,
right?
There was the regional quarterfinals.
Okay.
Smaller divisions. Yep.
So we got the D1 bracket for softball is out there too. Let me bring it up here. My computer is being a little slow here on this on this morning here. So here we go. Division 1 here. We got Spash as a 1 seed. Menominee could potentially face them. They're an 8 seed going up against Wausau West tomorrow in Menominee. River Falls is a 13 going up against number 4 Chippewa Falls.
Yes.
Chippewa Falls a 4.
That's
They could potentially face weird Stevens Point. It feels like those two teams.
Always, yeah. That you can almost put it down every year that they're going to battle at some point in the playoffs there. So
yep.
Yeah, the Cardinals had, I think New Richmond getting 2 games off of them there and lost a couple of games, but it's Chippewa Falls, and if they can get hot, just watch out. I mean, they have the talent's there. The talent's there, and if it all comes together, the team that can always make a run towards a state tournament.
A lot of BRC representation here, with Memorial being a 14 seed going up against number 3 DC Everest. Hudson's a 6 going up against Marshfield, an 11. Superior 7 going up against North as a 10 seed, and that winner will go against number 2 New Richmond.
Those 2 teams aren't bad either, so that's a good matchup there.
Yeah, definitely. So I know they got let me just scrolling through here with the other Division 1s, see if they're kind of in our area here, but yeah, a lot of BRC representation in there. Division 2, we got some games that started off last Thursday, so which means number 1 Rice Lake going up against Black River Falls.
BRF.
Tomorrow there, Hayward taking on Baldwin Woodville. That's actually tonight, it says here. Monday at 5 p.m.
I got to imagine some teams are trying to beat the weather for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hoping that today it's supposed to clear up kind of in the afternoon. So, if not, there's going to be some Wednesday games too. If that's the way it goes.
Somerset's going to be taking on St. Croix Central. Altoona defeated Ashland, so Altoona takes on Ellsworth.
That Altoona team's tough. And I them playing another one of those teams that had to play the opening round game that I think is, probably going to take that to heart and use it as some motivation there.
Mm-hmm. Division 3 wise, just kind of taking a look at some of the teams here. Let me bring it up there. We got Northwestern taking on Unity, Bloomer and Barron, number 5 and number 4.
Battle of the Bees.
Yep. St. Croix Falls taking on Cameron, and then Cumberland will be taking on number 2 Spooner. That is also tonight too at 5 p.m. So.
Check your local listings.
Yeah.
For a lot of these games, again, are probably going to get moved just because of tomorrow. If tomorrow's a washout,
right,
it's going to be a lot of Wednesday or a lot of tonight games.
Elk Mound, 5-seeded Elk Mound taking on number 4 Arcadia as well, and then GET taking on Durand, Arkansas. Stanley Boyd taking on Aquinas too. So that was Division 3. Just double checking some other ones over there. Should we go to Division 4 here?
Let's do it.
Grantsburg, the 1 seed, taking on Frederick Luck. Clayton, Turtle Lake taking on Hurley. What do we got here? Shell Lake taking on Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser. Fall Creek taking on Glenwood City. Fall Creek, the 1 seed, number 8 seeded Glenwood City.
Yeah, Fall Creek team just doing a great job there in the Clover Belt, and a lot of experienced players on that team. So I expect to see a good run from the Crickets.
Number 5 Cadott takes on number 4 Boyceville. Colfax taking on Lake Holcomb.
Colfax, good team too. A team that really played well all conference wise. So I think that's a team that's poised and really wants to make some noise here in the postseason.
Augusta took down Regis last Thursday, so Augusta will now take on McDonald Central Catholic.
That's a team that we've heard a
little bit,
few things about in softball and over the years there too. So
just a little bit.
That's the Macs are always again another team poised to make a run just because they just do such a great job with the softball programs around there.
Elsewhere in D4, Osseo Fairchild is going to be taking on number 1 seed Melrose Mindoro. Oliva Strum as a 5 takes on number 4 Mondovi over there too. So, and then to wrap it up, Division 5 here, we've got just kind of looking through
a lot of the smaller northern schools with the
Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran takes on Gilman. That should be an intriguing matchup over there. And then Clear Lake taking on the Fighting Brandenburgs.
Oh, Thorpe's a team. I mean, that's they play that tough Clover Belt schedule. So being in D5, they've got a chance to get back there to Madison for
sure. Track and field. You mentioned there's some events going on today.
Yes, I believe the regionals are going on. Okay. Hopefully, with that going on. So tennis has subsectionals going on as well.
Okay. A
little bit for soccer. I think next week would be soccer playoffs starting. So and then baseball at the end of the week.
That's right.
On Thursday with those regionals. So we're in it. And golf has regionals this week as well.
I was going to ask because I think I saw some conferences wrapped up. Which BRC was it? Hudson got the BRC title?
The team title.
Yeah,
but I think Will Schlitz won the individual.
Okay.
But I mean, I watched that Memorial team, and again, in what is a tradition when we cover Memorial, I'll shoot the top 3 golfers. And the number 4 will come back and win the tournament. So shout out to Thomas Cole. I'm sorry I didn't they had the Mill Run one last week. It's like I got back. I'm like, I think it has to happen at least once a year where I shoot and it's the one guy who wins. But I think that every one of their top 4 golfers had a win this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that just tells you once you get to the team, if they can play well here the next 2 tournaments, that Memorial has a good chance of getting back there to state. So
absolutely,
see what they can do.
And then
Bloomer too, and Bloomer, and then you get Altoona and then Regis and those schools getting set for runs here, and all the schools around here. So it'll be fun to see who ends up getting the chance to go over to Black Wolf Run this year.
And to wrap it up before I let you go, Blue Golds. This is where their the track and field program probably is what they're really focused on, the national championships coming up this week at the end of this week too.
Yeah,
so
I mean, tons of competitors and another successful season so far, and they would love for the individuals would love to end up there on the podium, but I think as a school they would love to end up there on the top of the podium. But it'll be fun to see how it all plays out here for them, the talented team, obviously.
Especially above their rival. I know Coach Schneider does not like us saying the school that starts with an L.
In the Cooley
over
region.
There. Yeah, that way over there. So if they can
That's a great rivalry.
Yes,
I love
it's a fun one. So, all right, JC, appreciate it, man.
No problem.
As always, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more as we start to get close to wrapping things up on this Monday morning. with summer approaching, or maybe kind of even here now, if you got some trips planned, some road trips planned, or anything like that, make sure your vehicle is ready to hit the road. And that's why you should make your appointment at ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Get your oil change there, get some new tires, or if maybe you're working on a project like remodeling a vehicle or working on your vehicle and you want some high quality used auto parts to save a little extra cash in your pocket, go check out our good friends from ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire, located right across the street from the Dodge here. So you can also check out their Facebook page, their website for more details. But again, if you're getting ready to hit the road this summer for some road trips and such, you want to make sure your vehicle is ready to go with some new tires and an oil change, especially with the heat there that kind of is a little hard on old oil in your vehicles. Make sure you get that new oil change and new tires from ASAP Used Auto Parts. All right, Brewers back in action tonight, taking on the Marlins of Miami. Marlins of Miami. By the way, final call before we get into that to your weekend hangover, your highs and your lows. I'll get to my picks coming up right before we do some picks and predicts at the back end of this. So, again, weekend hangover, your studs and duds, your highs and lows, your best and worst, however you want to phrase it. Send those on over via the Shoe Doctors bullpen texting line, 715-830-1912. But back to the Brewers here for just a couple minutes. The Brewers taking on the Marlins tonight. We've got Joe Ross on the mound for the Crew. We did a little, preview of this game in the first hour here. Also in the first hour, when we were talking about the Brewers, kind of had a little informal poll, if you will. But between Terang and Ortiz, two of the Brewers' youngsters, infielders here too, and probably, with the way Ortiz is playing and the uncertainty of Adames and, his future contract and such, I think it's just kind of a foregone conclusion for a lot of people that this is going to be Adames' last year with the Brewers. I don't think he'll be I'm changing my preseason picks here, but with the way the Brewers are playing and them being in first place, I don't think Adames will be traded. But next year, free agent and such, Ortiz seems to be, maybe the next guy in line to be their future starting shortstop. So I mean, you got Ortiz and Terang as maybe your middle infielders of the future, but we kind of threw out an informal poll question out there, like, who do you think? Maybe the sky's the limit, or maybe the better way to kind of phrase this or ask this is, who do you think is more in line for one of those Brewer type of contracts? And what I mean by that is, Freddie Peralta got that deal, long-term deal, where when it was first signed, it's like, oh, already given him a contract. Freddie Peralta could potentially pitch out of it where it's a bargain for the Brewers, or maybe the Brewers gave away some money and Freddie doesn't play that well. They did it with Aaron Ashby, right? Obviously, Jackson Cheerio being the big one where they gave him a massive deal. So if we take Contreras out of this, because I think Contreras would probably be the main guy for a lot of people that you'd like to see a contract given to, a long-term contract to. But if you were Matt Arnold, a game we like to play once in a while, be the GM. But if you were Matt Arnold and you're going to give a contract right now to one of these guys, to one of these guys, and you have to base it off of, I think their ceiling's a little bit higher, Ortiz or Terang. You got Terang, who's both, first of all, the comparisons here, both are A-plus defenders. Fantastic defenders. Gold Glove worthy defenders, okay? Not saying they're going to win Gold Gloves. I think they should. But fantastic defenders, okay? Terang, the improvements that he has made from the offensive side of things from last year to this year has been outstanding. Started off the year, bottom of the order, was hitting so well. Pat Murphy puts him up, was stealing a bunch of bases, is stealing a bunch of bases. Compared to Ellie De La Cruz, and maybe it's not a bunch of bases, but Terang is number 2 in the majors in stolen bases. But Pat Murphy makes the move not that long ago, put him at that leader spot, and Bryce Terang, it seems like he's even elevated the game a little bit more. He gets on. He's the perfect table setter. He's the perfect leadoff hitter right now, getting on and stealing bases. So we know about his defense. Fantastic defense. Now you're adding in on his offensive side of things. This year has been a fantastic player for this team. Then you got Ortiz, who maybe started off a little slow when he came in, when he was a part of the Corbin Burns trade. What was he known for? Defense. Flash in the leather. Offense was a little suspect. Didn't really know. Could see a lot of improvements from there. And this season started off a little slow on offense. But as of late, has really picked it up. Maybe he's a little bit more power than Terang here. At least that's what he's displayed a little bit more. He's displayed that power a little bit more. And his average has been up there. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer in this thing by any means. None whatsoever. But, boy, if I had to pick, maybe I'll go Terang right now. I love the style of baseball this Brewers team is playing. I love it. And I feel like, too, that this is now a team where you are down a couple of runs. If you're down a couple of runs, if you're down 2-0, 3-1, 3-0, whatever the case may be, you don't count this team out. It's like if it's in the second inning and they're down 2 runs or 3 runs, last year, a couple of years prior, it was, hey, yep, that 2 runs, 3 runs seems to be kind of a insurmountable lead for the Brewers to get back from, just because their offense was such a dud. It stunk. You weren't confident in it. Now that at least that's changed as we're heading into the second quarter of the season. You feel, at least I feel, like, all right, you're down a couple. We got time. They can get through there. They can get back into it. They can take the lead. We've seen it already. But look at the list just goes on and on if we wanted to add some more. I mean, Jackson Chirio's playing really well as of late. Maybe those few games where he wasn't in a starting lineup, where Pat Murphy said, we got to hold guys accountable. And there's going to be growing pains with the youngster 18-year-old. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. You're going to have a lot of good times. You're going to have a lot of bad times in an early career. Got to manage it. And the Brewers, I think, are managing it well. They really are. And even dropping this series against Houston, they're still in a good spot. 2 games ahead of the Cubbies right now for first place in the division. We'll see if they can bounce back and get a series win against the Marlins as they continue their longest road trip of the season. Perhaps some good news on the injury front here for the Brewers. So Devin Williams was actually spotted at the games at this series with the Astros, and he was actually thrown. But Devin Williams began his throwing program. It was on Saturday, and it was just about 25 tosses. I'm reading here a little injury updates from the Brewers. It was just 25 tosses from about 60 feet, but Saturday's flat ground throwing session also marked a milestone for the Brewers closer, who has been sidelined since mid-March by stress fractures in his back. Williams still faces a long progression. However, he said the current timeline has him pitching in games by late July, but he felt, quote, surprisingly good while taking the first step. So, late July. That's probably after the All-Star break. That All-Star break is July 15th through the 19th. So, I think it's safe to say, yeah, it's going to be after the All-Star break. Maybe a little bit longer. I think we were kind of being told June, potentially. So, you're going to have to extend it out a month. And the way the Brewers are playing, maybe that's allowing them to kind of, other guys have been kind of stepping up. It's kind of been, all hands on deck for save opportunities and such. But maybe it's allowing the Brewers to be a little bit more cautious at that. But also DL Hall He threw he appeared for the Timber Rattlers and such. Hit 94, touched 95 miles per hour on his pitches. Now it sounds like he's going to go to Nashville and such. So he's expected to return late May or early June here. I think for me will be is he going to be back to a starter, or is he going to be back into, or is he going to go into like a relief role here? It says here, Pat Murphy said Hall would, this was before his Timber Rattler session there, but said Hall would log a series of outings for the Timber Rattlers before the Brewers decide what's next. One possibility is that Hall rejoins the roster, the major league roster, to continue building his pitch count as a multi-inning reliever like Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns did early in their careers. So, DL Hall, who began the season as a starter, again, part of that package from Corbin Burns, maybe a little bit of a different role when he comes back, a long reliever type of role to increase that pitch count. Something to kind of keep an eye on going forward here. Rhys Hoskins, really quick, if anybody's wondering, it still says late May or June for Rhys Hoskins. Again, hamstring, soft tissue injuries. We don't know how that's going to play out. They're always so finicky. All right. We're going to take our final break here. Coming up to finish up the program, our last segment, we've got some picks and predicts. We're going to do the weekend hangover, the highs and the lows from the weekend, and then something new, our daily tip of the cap. Shout out to, it's kind of like player of the game, team of the day sort of thing. But shout out to a team, athlete, high school, college, pro, whatever the case may be, who's going to get our tip of the cap for today. Find out as we take our final break here and wrap up shop after these few words. Don't forget to check out our swag cave. Brought to you by our friends from Resonance Branding Company, the official swag provider for the program and the podcast. Also, some Victory Scotch teas exclusively available at Hy-Vee. But you want the link to the swag cave? You can look up the Man Cave podcast. It's in the podcast description over there. Otherwise, it's on social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that. If you need the link you want to check out to order some swag, let me know, and I'll even text you the link. How about that? Swag Cave, brought to you by our Swag Cave, done by Resonance Branding Company. Again, the official swag provider for the program. Let's do some weekend hangover. The highs and the lows, the best and the worst. For me, the highs, I got a couple. We talked a lot about them this morning, and I know the Brewers lost this series to Houston, but I'll continue to say I'm going to go with the Brewers youngsters. And I'll even go back to Thursday, Robert Gasser, another great start from him. Ortiz, Terang, Cheerios playing better. William Contreras is still considered a youngster. He's 26 years old. At 26? Yeah, 26 years old over there. Got some of the relievers and such. So, yeah, I'm Brewers youngsters, a high. Xander Schauffele winning his first major. That was an epic finish to the end of the PGA Championship. PGA Championship is the fourth most popular championship. Let's face it. Even when it was in August, it was still the fourth most popular. Now I get it. You know, they move it to May, maybe to draw some more attention between the Masters and the U.S. Open. Then you got 4 straight months of majors. But it was a great finish. It was a dramatic finish. But Xander Schauffele winning his first major, so that's a high. The lows with that, I'm just going to say the whole situation surrounding the Scotty Scheffler. Now it starts off with the awful accident beforehand where there was a loss of life. And so, there was some delays, and that's what led to, Scheffler miscommunication between, him and police trying to, bypass the accident and such. And then he ends up getting arrested. Just an awful situation all around. So that was definitely a low, an incredibly low when we look at the whole situation, the entire situation. So that's a low. Low. My horse almost did it. Mystic Dan almost did it at the Preakness to continue for a Triple Crown, but finishing in second at the Preakness. Sees the Gray won so shout out Sees the Gray, but our horse, Mystic Dan, he so close, got second. So, but that was a little bit low. We want that's our unofficial horse here, and he never doubted Dan. So that's your highs or that's your weekend hangover. Again, reminder every Monday, send us your weekend hangover, your highs and your lows, or your best and your worst. All right, let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room here in Eau Claire. First off, we got a game 7, Edmonton, Vancouver. Well, I had Edmonton going to the Stanley Cup final, so I got to go Edmonton. I know it's in Vancouver, but I'm going to go with my fighting Connor McDavid's in the Oilers over there. So please get her done. All right. The winner of this one will face the Dallas Stars for the right to go to the Stanley Cup final. We already know. For the East side, it's going to be Florida at the Rangers for game 1. That's going to be on Wednesday. No NBA games to be played. We got our first one coming up tomorrow. Indiana at Boston, and then Dallas at Minnesota for Wednesday. So let's do some Major League Baseball picks here. Let's start off with Padres at Atlanta. Give me the Braves in that one. Doubleheader, actually, too. So I'm going to go Braves in both of them. Minnesota at Washington. I think the Twinnies bounce back from their series against the Guardians, and they pick up the win today against the Nationals. Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore's going to take care of St. Louis. Arizona at the Dodgers. Give me the Dodgers for this one. Seattle at the Yanks. Give me the Yankees in this one. And then Milwaukee at Miami. Ryan Weathers I think you look at win-loss records 2-4, you're like, oh, okay. But you really look at his games. I mean, a couple of his losses, especially his last 2 losses, really, I mean, it wasn't awful games there. But I think the Brewers bounced back from yesterday. Joe Ross just has to go out there, give him 5-6 solid innings. Don't have a bad inning and put yourself in a deep hole, deep hole. But I think the Brewers bounce back, and I'm going to pick the Brewers to win tonight. So those are your picks and predicts, brought to you by the Elbow Room. Our new tip of the cap. Tip of the cap is kind of where we give a daily shout out to wrap up the program to, team, athlete, could be from high school, college, pro, over there. I got to tip my cap to the T-Wolves. I got to tip my cap to the Timberwolves. That was a fantastic job last night. They did a fantastic job. I thought after Game 5, when the Nuggets were up 3-2, it was done. I proclaimed it. It was done. It was over with. Timberwolves come out in Game 6 and absolutely annihilate the Nuggets. They go back to Denver. I was like, yeah, it's still Denver. And it looked like for at least the first half, it was going to be Denver. And at one point, Timberwolves were down 20. But they came out in that second half, and they closed it down in the fourth, and they got the victory on the road in Denver. Tip of the cap to the Timberwolves. That was impressive. That was pretty darn impressive over there. So if you're a Timberwolves fan, you got to be pumped. You got to be excited. I think these are intriguing. Both these Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals, a little intriguing here. I know 3 out of the 4 teams, maybe a lot of people didn't really expect to be there. Maybe the Timberwolves, because, I mean, let's face it, Timberwolves, they may be a 3 seed, but they were fighting between Denver and the Thunder all season long for the top seed. So it really shouldn't surprise that many people that they're in the Western Conference Finals, because they were always in that battle for that top seed. I mean, they were always in that fight for the number 1 team in the Western Conference. So shouldn't surprise too many people. But maybe at the beginning of the year, it was like, oh, well, maybe a little bit of surprise in that part. But I think Minnesota versus Dallas is going to be intriguing. You got Luka, you got Kyrie, obviously, Ant-Man and Cap. And then on the Eastern Conference, Boston, the proverbial favorite, going up against the youth of Indiana. They want to run up and down. Drew Holiday, Tyrese Halliburton. Can Drew Holiday, is he going to have the stamina, to try to slow down Tyrese Halliburton in that transition offense over there? So I think there's going to be some intriguing games coming up for you too. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be good. All right, quickly, Spencer's got. I've got a weekend hangover for you, Dan. It's a little bit more little. I golfed yesterday after drinking a little too much on Saturday. Shot a 47 on a par 39. So I need to make sure I don't make that mistake for the Kasper Classic. I don't know how John Daly does it. Par 39. What course were you at? That's a high par for 9 holes. What course were you at there, Spencer? I'm curious to know. Par 39. Wow. That's a big one over there. So, all right. Coming up tomorrow, we will begin our Tuesdays with the Eau Claire Express. As a week from today, the Express open up their series, or season, excuse me. Memorial Day, they will be welcoming the Madison Mallards to Carson Park. Don't forget, Sports Talk Night is next Friday, May 31st. So get your tickets for Sports Talk Night. Coming up on the 31st. But tomorrow we'll catch up with GM Sammy a little after 8 o'clock, and she'll announce, maybe you saw some of the photos out there on social media, a project they've been working on just outside of left field along the third baseline over there. So what is that exactly? Well, Sammy will be joining us, and she'll be unveiling what that actually is. So make sure you tune into that just past 8 o'clock. So our chats with the Express will begin tomorrow. Also coming up tomorrow, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, talk some things, talk some Badger stuff. Also, hopefully, we're talking about a Brewers win, and of course, we got some playoffs continuing to roll around in the sports world there too. So, I know I mentioned it in the first hour, But again, quickly, in case you didn't hear late last night or earlier this morning, but Mr. Raider himself, Jim Otto, Hall of Fame center, one of the most iconic. Remember he wore 00. I mean, that's so cool as a center to wear 00, I think. But one of the best centers for a lot of people, the best center of all time. The original Raider, as he kind of, gets nicknamed, Mr. Raider as well. He passed away, but he's also a Wisconsin boy. He born and raised in not too far to the east of us, just a couple hours away, hour and a half away, Wausau. Jim Otto, born and raised in Wausau, Wisconsin. So, but he passed away at the age of 86. All right, shot clock's gonna kick me off in a little under a minute. We'll have a new episode of the Man Cave Podcast up later on today, brought to you by Toyson Ford and Hy-Vee. So make sure you catch that. Well, that'll be up on your favorite podcasting platforms. If you haven't done so yet, if you could give us a 5-star rating and a positive review so others can find the podcast. All right. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel over there too, as well. Podcasts are available on YouTube now, in case you didn't know that too. But we'll have a new episode coming up a little bit later on this morning. Plus, we'll put up the local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. Big thanks to Justice for that. We went through the brackets for softball and baseball and talked a little track and field and all that good stuff too. So, DP, Danetz, up next. Have yourself a very good Monday. We'll do this again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Meet me here, all right? Talk to you then.